Today, our field meteorologist Tim Jones and our field correspondent, he has been able to get to Pine Island, Florida. This was a direct hit from Hurricane Ian 2 weeks ago, and he has been going slowly through neighborhoods to see how this heavily impacted area is 2 weeks after that major hurricane landfall. And you can just see how much of the debris is left over. Joining us right now is Tim with a special guest, someone who lives on Pine Island and here to tell her story. Thanks so much for your work today. Tim, take it away.
Hey, thanks so much, Steve. This is Kathy Richardson. And Kathy, I want to say, first of all, thank you for taking the time, giving it everything that's surrounding us. And this is your house just behind you, the taller one. And Kathy, what's the first thing? There's so much to talk about. What's the first thing you just want to say coming from the top of your head?
I wish I could have a hot shower.
and I will tell you, Kathy's had a great sense of humor for this, and you really have to, don't you, Kathy? You've been so gracious to us, showing us your home. You do have some damage, but it could have been a lot worse. Talk about that.
It could have. I've seen my neighbors' houses just completely demolished, and some of them have no insurance, and my heart breaks for them. And our pastor at our church, his house was completely destroyed, no insurance. The church was destroyed, no insurance. The neighbors, a lot of them don't have insurance, and my heart breaks for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like I talked to you a moment ago, like we talked about, everybody has a connection to Florida. Everybody knows somebody, has a family member here. What do you want folks to know that are not from here or don't understand what you're going through? Tell people what the last couple of weeks after the hurricane hit, what's it been like?
Well, the hardest part is not being able to take a hot shower, and the generators, they're loud, but at least, we have lights at night with the generators, and our refrigerators, we get by with a generator. A lot of people don't have that. They don't have generators. A lot of them don't have homes. Our cars are all destroyed. So we had trouble with transportation, and my nephew finally got my husband's car going again. So we do have a little bit of transportation now. I don't know how long it'll last, how long the truck will hold up. The car's completely gone. Internet service has been horrible. Every once in a while, we'll get a good feed from one of the towers that they put up for the workers. Sure. But it's been really hard to communicate with mainland. Coming across the bridge is impossible. There's, cars backed up for hours.
Took us like 2.5 hours to get here.
I can imagine. And getting off is just as hard because people come over, work on their house, and then they go back. The first days after, we didn't have a bridge. The bridge was out. The road was out.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, because we have so much to talk about, and anything we say is not going to do the story here any justice. And we're showing some video right now. Some of that, you had some ceiling damage in your house. You had about 3 feet of water in your lower level from the storm surge. But then compare that to some of the houses behind me that you took me through that have mud, like 6 inches of mud in that. Compare your home to what was some of the other homes we've seen.
Well, ours is a newer built home, and my husband built it, and he built it very sturdy. So I wasn't afraid. At no point did I have any fear when the hurricane was passing by. But some of the houses, they're wood frame, and they don't have impact windows like we did, and just completely destroyed because a lot of them are older homes, and even that some that aren't so old still had problems. Okay. Because
I'm sorry. So let me ask you this. And so here we are 2 weeks later. What has improved for you, and what would you like to see the next week or two that would make life a little better for you?
Okay, we've got running water now in the house that we can flush the commodes. We can take a shower, a cold shower, but at least we have running water, and that's a big help, just to be able to flush the commodes and not have to carry water up the stairs to do that with. And the electricity we still don't have yet, but I would like to see that real soon, and from what they say, we're going to have it soon, I hope. There's still a lot of work to be done on the wires and the telephone poles and transformers.
It's amazing, though, how in perspective, you see all this behind us, Kathy, but the alignment and the recovery that's happened in the last 2 weeks, Sanibel, that causeway has been restored. The way out here over to Pine Island, I think, has been somewhat restored. Are you impressed by the recovery so far, even though we have a long way to go?
I am. I'm truly impressed. Our governor has done a fantastic job organizing and bringing help in. And we've never had to worry about food. We've had plenty of food delivered to our homes. They'll come right up to our homes and yell out the window, would you like a hot meal? And so, he has organized everything and it's got everything moving fast.
Kind of funny how it takes a tragedy like this for people to come together, and then it's over and people go back apart. But there is a lot of positivity that comes out of it, isn't there?
There is. You feel closer to your neighbors, and we're the only ones on the street now, but during the storm there was several of us here, and they've all gone back to the mainland to wait for the electric to come on. We chose to stay. We have a generator and we chose to stay. But
do you regret that at all?
I don't. I'm glad we were here, because right after the storm we were able to get started on our cleanup, and I think we were able to salvage a lot of our home where other people weren't, because they weren't here.
Hey, let's bring Steve back in. I don't know how much time we have, but Steve, come back in and join us. Anything you want to ask Kathy before I let you go?
We've got about 30 seconds, Tim, to catch you up. Just how can we help? What's the best way to help if we want to?
We've got about 10 seconds. How can people help?
People have been so helpful. Like I said, they've brought us food. They've brought us water. We've got one individual that comes to our house every 2 or 3 days and brings us gas. He brings us propane. He says, anything you need, we will bring to you.
Kathy, thank you so much. We'll be right back here on Weather Nation. Thanks for joining us.
Our big appreciation. Thank you so much, Tim, and especially Kathy for that very, very good interview. And best wishes.